Hello, friends. Welcome to Heidi's Colorful Colorado. I'm your host, Heidi Ganal, a wife, mom of four, CU Regent, and the founder of Camp Bow Wow and the She Factor. With a passion for keeping the spirit of our state alive and well, I started this podcast to bring the people of Colorado together to celebrate the amazing state we call home. Come along on this journey with me as I travel across our old country roads in my vintage RV, interviewing folks that embody the true spirit of the Rocky Mountains. From the Front Range to the mile-high city to the wild west of southern Colorado, we'll celebrate the history, beauty, and Coloradans that make this place the colorful state it is. Each week, you'll meet people trailblazing the way for an even more colorful future for us all, making a huge difference along the way. Are you ready for a Rocky Mountain ride? Let's do this, Colorado. Welcome, everyone, to Heidi's Colorful Colorado. Today, I'm so excited to spend some time with Megan Stark, a young entrepreneur in Colorado. You guys know I love talking about entrepreneurship and starting businesses and building brands. So, Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
We have a lot of fun here. We talk about a lot of different things, and I love talking to folks like me who are involved in, like we were just saying, cool projects, cool people, lots of different initiatives. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you fell in love with being an entrepreneur.
Of course. Well, you know, my parents were, so it always starts there.
That helps.
Yes, always. So you see the ebb and flow of it, and then you also see the hustle and the fun of it. So what got me into it was I loved crafting.
Really?
It was just like a fun hobby for me. And when I went to college, I kind of needed to fill that void in my schedule after sports. You know, I needed to get something in my schedule and fluff it up a little.
And you did go to CU. You're a buff.
I did, yes.
Yay, go
I'm
Buffs.
a buff. So after college, I was kind of winding down and was like, what can I do? And what can I do for myself? And that's how it kind of just started swindling, is what can I do with my own time?
That's right. And investing in yourself and investing in, you know, spending your time doing things that you love. So what was your first venture that you did?
You know, my first venture was an eBay store.
Really?
Yeah, it was fun. I was going around Goodwill's, finding items, nice items, or on eBay and reselling it when Poshmark came out. So I started there. It was small. It was funny, just to avoid it starting a real job, obviously, is what my parents say. And then started Stark the Label, which was a knitting and jewelry Etsy store. So I started with knitting at 22.
Oh, that's kind of that's counter to what we think of knitters.
Exactly.
But knitting is getting kind of popular. I've seen a lot of, you know, cool products out there targeting young women. One of my friends is Josh, who started Craftsy, the online quilting community. And do you know that 4 guys started that?
No, I don't. I couldn't even believe that.
Yeah, that is not like what you think of when you think of quilting or craft or knitting. But go back a little bit and tell me what kind of businesses your parents did or what kind of entrepreneurs they were.
Of course. So they loved the hustle as well. So they were always picking up any jobs. And what the beef of their industry was, they started Colorado Party Rentals.
Oh.
That tenting company in Colorado. Yes. So they started that after they were working for another party rental and realized, like, we can do this ourselves. Let's do it.
That's big.
Yeah, it was great. And they were able to sell years ago and took that and started working in housing and, you know, private or residential properties.
Really?
Yeah. So they were able to, like, turn something and their skills into a business and then just keep going.
Were you the kid that had the lemonade stand and the dog walking business and all that good stuff?
Yes, I was. I was never the one babysitting, though. No one ever asked me to babysit.
Why not?
I was like, I'll do anything else at the house.
As you can tell from my studios in my house, and it's summertime, and my kids are trampling the floor up above. So if you hear any echoes, that's what's going on. My twin 9-year-olds, my 11-year-old. The house is crazy right now. Summer's like a full-time job for parents, I think. But
I am seeing it now. I love it, though.
So tell me a little bit about your experience at CU. You got a degree in something besides business, psychology, right?
Yes. So my parents, being in entertainment, were always like, get a practical degree, get a practical job. They're like, go into medical, go into something else. And of course, I just followed them. So I got a degree in psychology, thinking I was going to be a nurse after college.
Really?
And caught the bug of working events and in production in college and just kept on that track.
Yeah, because one of your companies has to do with that, right? It's loungers for parties or events?
Yes. So we started Park People, parkpeople.co, and it is an experiential kind of like pop-up for families, for weddings. It's just bringing the convenience of a lounge and picnics to you. So it's very come as you are and leave with nothing.
That's awesome. Especially after I spent the last weekend going camping for one night, and it took about 3 days to get ready for the trip, and then another 3 days to decompress and put everything away and clean up.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, it was a lot of work.
I know. So we love tailoring to parents as well, where they can show up with just pizza and the kids, and everything is set for you. We have like the bocce ball, cornhole, volleyball, and we have female companies come in and do florals if you need. They do charcuterie boards.
Oh my gosh.
So we're trying to touch every facet.
And where do you set up? Like in parks or at camping sites or?
Wherever you need. We've done weddings in Telluride. We've done backyard weddings in Evergreen. We'll do Wash Park or private residential. It's open to anybody.
And what's the website for that company?
It's parkpeople.co.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So if people are interested, they can go there.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about your jewelry business, because that's still going on too, right?
Yes. It's funny when you have ideas and you're like, how can I put some time into each idea and business? So Stark the Label started senior year of college with the knitting, like I was saying. My girlfriends saw me just making I was knitting scarves and like the twist headbands.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want one, like we'd like to buy one. And then they told their friend who wanted one, and they're like, just open the Etsy store, just do it. So they kind of pushed me into starting an Etsy page. And it is now a wholesale company. We sell in boutiques around the US and Australia.
That's fantastic.
It's been fun. It's been a fun growing pain.
All right. So what do you do for hobbies? I mean, I know us as entrepreneurs, our businesses are our hobbies, but is there anything that you do like a sport, or because you played sports in high school, right?
Yes. So I played basketball and tennis growing up, and I now just play tennis.
You do.
It's pretty fun. Yes.
My 11-year-old just took tennis camp over at Valor and loved it, and is like, she doesn't like a lot of sports. She likes acting and singing and musical theater. But I've tried it a few times. It's harder than it looks.
It is, and it's honestly a mental game because you're by yourself, and it's all mental.
That's a good point.
So I'm sure that's why she loves it. She's like, I can control everything I do here. I don't have to rely on any teammates.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tell me a little bit about what the challenges are in running these businesses. Like, what is the downside for those young folks thinking about starting a business?
I think the downside is us wanting to be perfect and having these ideas and not launching because it's not perfect. Mm-hmm. And I think the downside was more of the growing pain of, am I too small and we start thinking of the end of this project.
Yeah.
Sometimes we start businesses and we're like, will this last forever? Or adjusting our mindset, being like, how can we grow this? Mm-hmm. My growing pain with both of them is I can't give each 100%.
Right.
But the good news is I can bring in, contract workers. I can talk with the community and see how we can grow together. Because with the park business, it is seasonal here.
Yeah.
So that is a hard part. We can't adapt to winter. We can to a point, So there's growing pains and realizing what our limitations are.
Yeah, that's a good point. What's your typical day look like?
It's funny, actually. So I do work full time. I'm a project manager because I love just working in agency life still.
Nice.
Yeah, so I work at Groundwork Agency, and that is my 9 to 5, but it also is wonderful networking and being able to share what else we do, and also being able to expand our individual companies, having other people join us as contract workers or work with us. So usually my 9 to 5 is with them, and the rest of the nights are answering emails, or on the weekends I do all my Etsy orders and do my shipping and get together with photographers, because a huge thing I realized was in this market, you can have a great idea, but you need great photos.
Yeah, and great graphics. And
yes.
I mean, people are so attracted to different brands. There's a lot of noise you have to break through.
Yes.
To make a difference or to sell a product or service these days.
Right. I think a lot of it is in the back house of the project. Like, here's your product, but how can I promote it?
Yeah.
How does my website look? So that's what we do the rest of our evenings. And we try and break it up. My husband and I, we try and say, okay, no business. Like, let's talk about this next week. This is a great idea
Does
for
that
another
work?
time.
It doesn't work for Jason and I very well because he's an
It's
entrepreneur
hard.
too. And we always end up veering back to, our projects, our businesses, and, the kids too, of course. But
Right, you get them thinking and you hear fun ideas. So we have like a little list of like great ideas, and we're like, we'll come back to this. Let's keep going, but we'll come back to these ideas.
Megan, talk to me a little bit about what it's like to be a young person today with everything going on in our culture and society. It seems like things are changing really quickly. And you're right at that spot where you were in college kind of before everything went a little bit sideways with COVID and the political unrest and everything that's happened. What's it like out there to be a young person trying to make their way in Colorado, in our country?
Yeah, it's a lot. I think that we are kind of pressured to have a say and know everything across the board about what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's hard because we only can, take in so much on each topic, where we really need to focus on what is important to us. Let's dive in 100% on like those important political issues and organizations that we want to work with. We can't just like scrape the surface across 20 different causes.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I need to just dive into exactly what I like and what I care for and just put it all into that.
And kind of tune out the others.
Yes, because we're getting drowned by media, and it makes us feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And we can't do anything about it. So we're sitting with this like overwhelming feeling, when really we should just focus on a few causes that we can handle, that can keep us mentally sane.
What's that cause for you? What are you really passionate about?
Since I moved back to Colorado, I'm a big dog lover as well.
Ah, great.
Yes, and I love Camp Bow Wow. My sister worked for you way back in high school, and she had the best time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I tell people working at Camp Bow Wow isn't just hanging out with the dogs. Like 80% of it is just cleaning,
Yes.
cleaning, and trying to keep up with those pups. And they're smart little critters. They always figure out how to destroy anything put in front of them.
Always. They will eat anything. I love it. So I'm big with Friend of Jack is a rescue, one that another CU girl founded.
Really?
She's our age, and Allie started a rescue last summer. She saw a huge hole with rescues and needed, I don't want to speak for her, but she's doing God's work, and she doesn't stop because she also works full time. So we're working with Friend of Jack. Right now I have a foster, a huge St. Bernard.
Oh, that's
Such
great.
a goober. Yep. And then another one is, lately we've been putting a lot of our time into pop-ups for female founders.
Really?
I've been working with my friend Allison, another DG
Yeah.
from CU, and she started Green Collective, and we've been figuring out ways to just do pop-ups, get our businesses and our new businesses in front of more people and just into the community.
Do you guys have, with pop-ups, one of the things we dealt with at Camp Out was zoning issues. And it always seemed like there was some other form or government official we had to talk to do anything we wanted to do. How does that work with pop-ups?
I haven't asked.
Let's not say anything.
My dad taught me, he's like, do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's not going to be a huge issue, we'll find open parking lots is usually easy.
Yeah.
Depending what you're bringing in. You're like, no harm, no foul. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I think, we live in a society that's becoming more and more mobile and flexible and kind of roll with it instead of even businesses like being permanently affixed to an office or a retail shop. I think that's changing, or I think COVID put that on fast forward.
I agree. I saw a huge decline in the need for brick and mortar, and obviously talking about imagery, like a huge increase in online sales and booking.
Did you? Is that sticking now that COVID's kind of relieving?
Here and there. I think that we all still crave that in-person connection that a brick and mortar brings in-house, but I don't see online dipping at all.
Yeah, that's something we dealt with at She Factor, because we were building live chapters around the country when COVID hit, and we had to take everything virtual. And there's good and bad, right? The virtual, you can reach more people. And so instead of having 100 girls show up at an event, you can reach 1,000. But everybody missed that one-on-one connection and just having a drink or, meeting outdoors, going on a hike. And I think people are really yearning to get back to that. As I go to events now, they're just packed. Like every event I go to or luncheon I go to is sold out, and people are almost like little kids, like, yeah, I'm so happy to see you. It is awkward not knowing, do you hug? Do you bump fists? Do you shake hands? It's a little bit weird right now.
It's funny to watch. I enjoy it because I'm also the person where I don't know. I don't know what I should do here. But I'm glad to see everyone getting back into their uncomfortable situations, putting themselves back in the community and meeting new people.
Yeah, I agree. Gosh, I'm really excited about your different projects. What do you have next? Is there anything else you're scheming up to start or launch?
We had a fun idea yesterday about we love sports, obviously, so we play volleyball at Wash Park on the weeknights, or we play in a kickball league, and we're like, what if park people can do that too? Our point is to bring people together so that we're on to our next idea. We'll see.
Oh, that's great.
We'll see if we have time for it.
I've heard pickleball is taking off. I haven't played it yet. Have you played it?
Yes, big fan. It's like large ping pong.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, one of my dear friends up in Eagle County, she's in her 70s, and she plays pickleball every day, I think for 3 or 4 hours a day. Said it's great exercise, great fun, very social. So, yeah, I think that's a sport that's up and coming.
It absolutely is. I see them putting in new courts all over Colorado, too.
Who knew? Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Honestly. I saw a few paddle tennis courts in California, but I think pickleball came from the East Coast.
Did it?
Someone said that.
I don't know. Well, we'll have to go Google that afterwards. Well, Megan, thanks for joining us. This has been a fun conversation. How can people stay in touch with you or follow you and watch your fun entrepreneurial adventures?
Yes. So you can follow me personally at Stark the Label, and you can also follow our experiential company at parkpeople.co. And we are on Instagram and I think just some websites, and that's it.
That's great. So Megan, everyone who comes on, I ask a couple questions, specific questions. One is, when people ask you why you love living in Colorado, and I've lived in California too, it's pretty awesome as well, but Colorado has a special spirit to it. What do you say?
The spirit of Colorado, I think this too. We all come back here. And
Yeah.
I think it's because of our small town feel. It's that friendliness of Colorado. You walk down the street and every single person will say hi to you. And it's such a good feeling. Or we're all 3 people removed from knowing someone in common. So
That's a good point.
We are small town. While we're growing crazy, we are just friendly neighbors.
You don't see that in other places. I mean,
No.
some towns, but as you travel the country, it's like, I just want to go home. And Colorado is like home.
Yes. And you feel comfortable, walking the streets and someone's got your back.
That's true. Especially if you've got a dog with you, right?
Big dog.
Big dog, big St. Bernard. What's the most Colorado thing you've ever done?
Growing up here, I think, of course, attending CU is the most Colorado thing anyone
Being in
can
Folsom
do.
Field, watching Ralphie run.
Exactly. But growing up here, most Colorado thing, my siblings and I would just wreak havoc and do anything to push the boundaries. So the most Colorado thing we've done together is I would throw a ski rope on a snowmobile and my brother would pull me on a sled.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
would just whip around the backcountry.
And give your mom and dad a heart attack.
Yes, they never knew.
That's a good thing. We tried to, when I was younger, we tried to take the snowmobile out for an adventure without telling my parents, and we got it stuck, and it was such a...
The worst feeling.
Yeah. And I'm like, what were we thinking? You don't just randomly take a snowmobile off the trailer and go cruising around and your parents not know.
Right.
But
And you had a long walk home, I bet.
yes, or a painful phone call like, okay, here's what we did. Dad, can you come get us? We're stuck. That's great. And we talked a little bit about what your mom said too when you were talking to her about this question.
Yes, because she's a native as well, and she said that she has gone skiing in the mornings and golfed in the afternoon here.
That's very Colorado.
Very, especially with our weather spectrum, of course.
Especially lately, it's been crazy. Well, thanks. That's a lot of fun. I think those are really good answers.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Heidi's Colorful Colorado. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And definitely follow me on Instagram to keep up with my latest adventures. In the meantime, happy trails from me, Heidi Ganahl.